We're still in the window.
After Christmas is
though,
be a little concerned.
If it was like
go.
Easter candy, that's too long for you.
That's too long. I'm glad we've established at what point the candy
Kids
life
just
cycle.
sitting on the couch chewing on some peeps.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
peeps
Just
are like
hard.
concrete.
It's the IDP show, now you know.
Welcome to the IDP show. I'm your host, Josh Raymer, joined in the Sode Shack tonight, Adam Markham, Bobby Reynolds. In this episode, we're going to tell you everything that happened from Week 14 of the NFL season. The fantasy regular season is done. The playoffs are starting for most leagues, so we are going to get you set. All the studs, all the disappointments, all the injury news, everything you need to know here in this episode. Boys, fantasy regular season has passed. Playoffs are underway. How are we looking?
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
I'm in where it matters.
You got the number one seed, I think, in our main league, the XFFL that we love.
Sure. Yeah. Made the playoffs in Bada Bing, another big money league. Unreal in the playoffs. Gonna be tough in there. But yeah, it's all my leagues are pretty competitive. So it's like, you made the playoffs, but still lots of work to be done.
The playoffs, Bobo, I've always said, for me, the dynamic flips from regular season is a lot of luck. A little bit of skill, mostly luck. In the playoffs, it flips. Because any team can get hot, injuries can happen. It's a 3-week just blitz to the finish, essentially.
Yeah, it seems like, team-wise in the regular season from weeks 1 to 9 is a different season from weeks like 10 on, because you've got XFL, you've got Lauren kind of getting hot at the right time. Old Macri's defensive ends can put up some points, 1 week to the next. Adam was the points leader in the regular season this year. Mr. Ben Ratty hasn't missed a playoff in a long, long time. Sam's in there, Nico's in there. So, it's the same everywhere. Unreal this year is going to be super difficult. Shout out Blunted is going to be fun this year with Nico. We've got VIP that's going to be awesome as well. But yeah, it's a weird time because I even had a buddy ask me today, like, do you think the Bengals are going to shut Chase down? And I was like, I don't think so. But it's kind of a shame that we even have to really think about that right now.
For as good as he's been, they're still in it. I don't think they're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs yet. So until that happens, I think they're just going to keep scrapping and clawing.
And Chase is probably close to having like an all-time type season too, wouldn't you think?
I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying the fact that you even have to think about those types of things at this point in the year,
not been paid yet.
Not fun.
When if they get eliminated this week or next, that's when I think you really have to be concerned that maybe a guy like him just pops up with a calf injury or a hamstring or an ankle. I'm gonna sit out.
Do you think it would? It probably wouldn't be smart, but especially when they go to these 2 buys, it might be a little bit more interesting to see. What if you moved the playoffs up a week? What if you only played 13 regular season games, and then so that you've got more like regular players? You're not shutting as many people down in week 17 because the teams have moved on. They're not in the playoffs anymore.
Wouldn't work.
Why's that?
All those buys that we just had week 14.
That's true. That's a good call.
Yeah, I
That's a
think
good call.
you got to
That's a
get the
good point.
playoffs. You got to get the buys out with the playoffs because that's a bigger detriment than guys getting hurt at the end of the season.
And maybe there's a world where the NFL starts to work with like the fantasy schedule because it almost feels like that's kind of like what they're doing already anyway.
Can we not get the big old bye weeks earlier in the season? Can like week 6 not be the bye apocalypse? Not week 14.
I feel
that
like,
was brutal.
And as crazy as that sounds, I do feel like the NFL will start making decisions with fantasy football in mind, just because it's such a big part of like the growth of the sport.
You look at the last 25 years. That's why the NFL has become the juggernaut that it is.
Would you watch
because
it?
of fantasy football and
we'd watch
gambling.
We'd watch it, but like I would not be tuning into
Either
damn near every game.
Yeah, Thursday night football with just 2 schmo teams, or
right.
Monday night football after watching all weekend, and the family's like, "Let's do something," and you're like, "Sorry, babe, but Titans, Jags are on Monday night football. Gotta tune in. Gotta see if I win my fantasy matchup."
The funny thing too is at some point over the last couple of years, I don't know when, I can't pinpoint it, but I've started paying attention probably more to like the defensive side of the ball. Like before the snap, a lot of times I'm like, all right, who's that's moved down into the box right there? You know, why is this linebacker on the edge? So I don't know. I don't know if y'all do that. I don't know if y'all are still looking offensively.
A special brand of sicko.
Yeah. Last night, like for the Bengals, I was only watching Akeem Davis game the entire time.
Captain Patch, baby.
So yeah, it's an illness.
It warps your brain for sure. Because we're fans of certain teams, and then we're fans of not only offensive fantasy players, but also defensive now. So we got it real bad. But you got it bad too. That's why you're here. We're going to be talking Week 14 IDP recap. We got a dozen storylines we're going to touch on. Maybe play some like who do you trust going into the playoffs here. It's a distant cousin of who'd you get. But boys, before we get into it, I do want to give a quick shout out to a longtime listener and fan, Scott. Scott is over at RueXXX on Twitter, going through a cancer battle, 2 rounds of chemo coming up. Scott, we are wishing you a complete and speedy recovery and strength for the upcoming chemo rounds. You've got this, buddy. Well wishes to you from the entire IDP show family. Now, I will say, boys, Scott did tell us he got buys in both of his leagues.
Let's go.
Because of the help he got from the IDP show. So, shout out, Scott. Just wanted to take a moment here and wish you luck on the upcoming chemo.
Love to see it. Yeah, this one's for you, Scott.
Yeah. Fan of Shiner Bach as well. We learned on Twitter last week.
Great taste, unreal taste, it seems like, that Scott has. So, yeah, kick Cantor's ass, dude. We're all rooting for you.
That's right.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Well, let's jump into it, Bobo. And I hate to start here because I know you roster this guy in the XFFL. I feel like we've had a curse this year with putting Aiden Hutchinson at the top of the dynasty ranks. Then he has the nasty leg break. We put Jalen up on the wall.
Definitely cursed.
Definitely has a horrible knee injury. Darius Leonard, Shaq Leonard falls off a cliff. I mean, we have...
It was your YouTube short that did this.
It really was. It really was.
Really, all the edge rushers have been pretty bad this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just looking at the top, they've all had moments where they've been letdowns. Like Will Anderson, he had his little, stint where he was hurt.
Yep.
Micah Parsons he missed half the year. Nick Bosa's missed, the last few weeks. That it's a really important time for teams. TJ Watt hasn't had like his typical. I think he's going to heat up, but to this point, he hasn't really been the TJ Watt we're used to.
Yeah.
Max Crosby's had a big down year.
Yes, he has.
Myles Garrett's been solid.
Yep.
But I mean,
the normal. Some of the studs have been solid, but nobody's had like a eye-popping year for edge rusher.
Man, look at that next name.
Jared Verse.
Woo.
He's been good.
Man.
Well,
he's cooled off a little bit though, and
for sure.
The
I think
pressure's been good, but
Nick Benito's sitting at edge 3 right now.
Benito's
by
been
big 3
insane.
scoring, right?
Van Ginkel's 1, I think.
Yeah, Van Ginkel's still number 1 overall. I think TJ Watt is 2, and Nick Benito is 3. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Just like we all expected. But yes, DeMarvion Overshown. Unfortunately, the show is over for Overshown. Left the game in the 4th quarter against the Bengals with a knee injury this morning. We found out he tore his ACL, LCL, and PCL. They're targeting a 2026 return for DeMarvion Overshown. Such a bummer. In the midst of a breakout season, we talked about it a lot last week. The rookie, Maris Leofow, made a splash against the Bengals, creating issues on the blitz and collecting 1.5 sacks on the evening, with Overshown set to miss, the rest of this season and probably next season. At least for now, Leofow might be a playoff ad that your roster needs. Always hate to start with an injury, Addy, but this is a big one. Overshown was playing really well.
Yeah, man, that's tough. And then coming off the torn ACL already, that's just not good. So, man, it's the timing of it is interesting too, because we just talked about Overshown on the last episode, and like what you would him being a good sell. What would it take to for you to sell him? And when we all said like a second round pick, so we were high on this dude.
Yes, absolutely.
And yeah, the future was looking bright. Looked like the type of guy you want to have on your team, because he has like that big playability, good tackler, and then like a wide open depth chart. So man, this is tough. But this Marist guy,
Maris Leofow.
Yeah, he's out there on waivers, free.
Next man up, scoop him up
for sure.
Go get him.
And he seems like a heady type, So he's probably going to be someone that Zimmer likes. He's probably soaking up a lot from Eric Kendricks. So they also have like similar hair, so I like that.
Yeah, that's always a plus. Look, we look for the important things: the hair, the drip, the captain's patch. Bobo,
that's what matters.
Yeah, this is a bummer because at this point, essentially, maybe even in Dynasty, Overshown becomes a drop candidate. Because do you really want to hold this guy on your roster for the rest of this season, all next offseason, the 2025 season, and the start of the 2026 offseason to see maybe, hopefully he comes back for training camp at that point?
No,
I don't know.
No,
I don't think you do.
If you don't have an IR spot, and even still, if you can get anything, if you can find anybody that gives you any type of value, you get a fifth. I'd probably move on from
there's a lot of leagues that I'm in this year where it's like, damn, I wish I had more IR spots.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
exactly.
I think you just have to cut him loose because you're literally going to get nothing for this guy.
Yep.
Nothing from this guy, probably for the next 12, 15 months.
And it was the same knee, wasn't it?
It's a different knee.
Okay.
The other knee.
Well,
That's even worse, right?
yeah.
I was like, I don't know if it's worse or better. Like, it's just bad all the way around, right? Because it's like Jonathan Brooks tore the same knee, and it's like, that's really, really bad. Because, like, is that knee ever going to be the same?
I guess it's bad either way.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know which is worse. They're both really bad outcomes.
But ACL, LCL, PCL, and,
Just late in the year, too.
looking him up on the IDPshow.com, I wanted to see what his RAS is. So 8.1, it's okay. 4.5, 640. So, decent speed, 7.17. 3-cone, his vert and his broad are okay. So pretty athletic dude. I mean, sideline to sideline, pretty, that was a big part of his game, especially the big play portion. So I'm not holding him. I mean, if you can get anything for him, good on you.
Yeah, don't go pay anything for DeMarvion Overshown. This is not a good speculative hold at this point.
I'd sell him. I mean, the odds of a guy like this
if
coming
anyone
back.
give you a 2027 7th round pick, I mean, if you can get literally anything for this guy.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to be out on waivers now probably. So I think you do just need to, remember to look next year.
Yeah, just set a reminder on your phone.
Add him back,
Go check for DeMarvion.
He's fine at that point.
Yeah, week 14 next year.
Because he probably will have value that next offseason because people will be excited like, oh, he's coming back.
And he has come back. He has come back from a blown knee. Not one this bad. I think the last one was just a torn ACL. But
he kind of reminded me a lot of JOK, another guy that we might have lost for a while.
Sucks. We've lost two really bright, kind of up-and-coming linebackers, potentially for the long term. So the Giants lost the game on Sunday against the Saints, in large part because of Bryan Bresee, who had an exceptional game on Sunday versus the Giants, posting just under 27 points by Big Three scoring with a sack on Drew Lock and an incredible, y'all. I was watching this live. It was amazing. Incredible block on the game-tying field goal. He leaped clean over the long snapper. Didn't touch the guy at all. Didn't do the, jump off somebody. Just cleared him. He's 305 pounds, just going over the line and getting the field goal block. He has 3.5 sacks in the last 3 weeks and 7.5 on the season for Bryan Bresee. We talked about defensive tackle kind of hierarchy recently, Addy. Where did Jalen Carter fit in? Where's Cansey, Simmons, Big Q? Bryan Bresee is a name we should be paying attention to as well in that same regard.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's definitely coming through as far as production goes. It is interesting, though, when you look at the PFF grades, because 38.0 overall PFF.
That's not great, Bob.
Pressure rate is pretty solid. I mean, it's okay for a defensive tackle. 27 pressures on 377 pass rush snaps. So, you do the math, get your calcs out.
Get your calcs out.
But that's not that great of a pressure rate either. So, yeah, it's interesting. But I do. I mean, he's a guy. This is still just year 2 for him, right? I mean, so he. I'm still a fan. I think the PFF stuff can turn around. That is unusual, though. I've never really seen a guy.
That's bad. That's real bad.
It's definitely strange.
But they are going to have some turnover along that defensive line. Chase Young's probably gone.
Yeah.
He's been a pressure monster recently. 30% pressure rate, 12 total pressures this past Sunday, and it is the Giants and it is Drew Lock, but still.
Who cares?
Carl Granderson just got signed long-term, so he'll be there. Cam Jordan, how much more does he have left in the tank?
Yeah, he's getting old. He's like 34, 35.
Yeah, it's for edge rushers that you might as well be 55.
And he's not been very effective this season anyway. But, yeah, we like Bresee a lot this offseason. I was drafting him in quite a few of these best balls.
He's kind of in that bucket of Trevon Dexter, sort of these not the top tier defensive tackles, Bobo, but just one tier down. If you're in a start 2 defensive tackle kind of league, that's where I think you want to be rostering someone like a Bresee.
You want Bresee or Kobe Turner?
Man, Man,
Probably Kobe Turner, just
Let's
because, I mean,
Turner's got a little higher tackle upside.
Bresee played 59% of snaps this past weekend. So
and Bresee's 23, where Turner's
a little older.
That is a thing with like Bresee. I'm not that concerned about the. I mean, I know the PFF stuff is weird, but I'm not that concerned about it yet, just because he is so young. Like
he was a first round draft pick in 2023,
30th overall.
Yep.
And then Turner is like almost 26. He's 25.6. That's close. I think both those guys are right around each other.
I kind of want to see what the coaching staff that comes in looks like. That'll be a big factor, I think, for Bresee.
He's just kind of a name. Don't forget about him. You know, I don't think he holds a lot of value going into next year, but
7.5 sacks on the season.
that's solid, man.
Not too bad.
It's more than Namdi right now.
Yeah, that's right. You could do worse.
Yeah.
And
He's young, man. He can develop. Like I feel I'm okay with the PFF stuff being bad. Like I like seeing the production early on.
Yeah.
And even if like some of these guys aren't going to look good from a PFF lens, but they produce. Like some guys just keep making it happen. You know, at some point it's like, well, this guy just against it seems all odds just continues to put up numbers. Same thing with like a DJ Wanham type players. Like we can try and find these perfect players that have the perfect PFF and advanced analytics and stuff. But also like there's guys that don't but still score. So it's like you got to pay attention to all of it. You know.
Yeah. Wicked DJ Wanham has been having a hell of a season since he came back. I wanted to look it up. Bryan Bresee, RAS 9.61. Incredible athlete.
Nice RAS.
So you can tell. You can't just jump over grown men and block a field goal like that unless you're a freak athlete.
Yeah.
So
and I just like seeing the production right now because I mean you could see like this guy could look totally different when he's 26, 27, right?
Yep.
We see like Zach Sieler types break out late. You know, like he could easily end up being something like that in a couple of years.
And that's a hard position to come in like year one and just smash. You know, so if we're thinking about next year, think about your Johnny Newton. Think about Tavondre Sweat. You know, there's going to be a lot of
Byron Murphy.
Yeah, Byron Murphy. A lot of these defensive tackles that haven't done much this year, but next year you're going to be like, oh yeah, he was highly drafted
year 2,
and he's
year
performing.
3, year 4. If you have a taxi squad.
Yeah.
That is the perfect kind of player to stash on a taxi squad.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take a little bit of seasoning, but when these guys hit, it could be really nice.
And playing time. You know, you look at Braden Fisk, he looks like maybe one of the best rookie defensive tackles this year, but it's because he's played a lot. I mean, the Rams have needed him to play, kind of like Jared Verse. You know, we all knew Verse was going to be good, but he had to play. They don't have any other pass rushers.
They've got to replace Aaron Donald, so they're just throwing bodies at the problem, and it's working.
Yep.
Your boys are kind of frisky. Big game on Thursday.
I was looking at a buddy of mine sent it to me, and he said, I was trying not to make too much of this, but looking at the Bills' past schedule, who they've beat. So the Bills have beat like San Fran. The Bills have beat the Chiefs. The Bills have beat one or two, I think Philly maybe in the last little while. So what maybe a lot of people would see is like some good teams in the NFL right now, and then we beat them by 2. So I'm trying not to get too crazy right now.
When y'all are at your best, you can beat anyone.
Dude,
I mean, the Bills were the best team in the NFL coming into that game.
Kyron and Corum's starting to get a couple carries every game.
Puka is...
Yeah, Puka's crazy.
My life is on the line. Like, wide receiver has to make a catch for me to live. Yeah. Puka Nacua is my choice, man. That dude's incredible.
That baton has been passed from old Cooper Kupp to Puka.
Exactly. Yeah. Dude's insane.
Yeah.
That catch on the sideline, I mean...
My new profile pic.
Yes, dude.
Big head
oh, my
Puka.
God.
I love that.
He's just so rugged and just like, I don't know. Yeah. He just plays a different brand of football.
Yeah. When those guys are healthy, you guys are like as good as it gets.
Yep. That's that stat you shared. One of the most efficient offenses
when all those guys are on the field
since the last 20 years.
Yep. Up there with like the
Randy Moss
Patriots and the Peyton Manning Broncos and Colts. So
how are you feeling Sunday? Were you hyped up?
Oh yeah, I was like, this is fun. This is fun football to watch. When they put all those points up in the first half, I was like, okay, all right. But I also think, I think the Bills are a little bit of fool's gold. I think they've beat some good teams, but I don't think their defense is that great. I think you can score against them. The Rams were at home, so it's like...
It's hard to get excited about the Bills because you know they're just going to go into Arrowhead and lose to the Chiefs again.
Yeah.
On the Chiefs' march to yet another Super Bowl.
But it does feel like the Rams probably make the playoffs. You know, at this point, it's like, of the NFC West teams...
I think they get a wild card.
I think so. Who are the two that get in from the NFC West?
Leading the division right now?
I think
If not, we're leading tied for.
No, I think the Niners and Cardinals are out. I think the Rams and Seahawks are in.
Got too many issues with the Niners.
Niners spiraling.
Just too banged up. I mean,
Purdy.
You beat the who
Devo
was it?
tweeting. I saw something.
Yeah, and they get community noted.
Yeah.
Did you see that one?
Yeah.
No.
Where he said, "I'm not struggling. I'm just not getting the ball." And community notes came back at him and said he's leading the team in drops. He is struggling.
Oh wow.
Everyone was flaming Devo today for that
Wow,
one. It's like if community notes is putting you in a body bag,
Yeah.
it's a tough spot to be.
Sorry, Debo.
Let's move to the next point, though, boys. Budda Baker will not be denied. He is playing out of his mind, even though he was playing hurt. I think the trainers looked at him like 2 or 3 times on the sideline. He finished with 18 total tackles on Sunday. He is now second in the NFL behind only Zaire Franklin on the season with 132 tackles and is on pace to shatter his single-season best of 147 set in 2019. Budda Baker had a little bit of a dip, but this is one of those seasons. This is what can happen with great players. They can surge to the forefront. He's probably sitting as like DB2 or 3 right now, I think.
Yeah, man.
Just an incredible season.
Like a league winner, really, like at the safety position this season. Like it's insane. 18 tackles this past week.
18. Second in the NFL behind a linebacker.
And that's got to be up there like on the all-time list for like safety tackles in a game. You know what I mean? So, he's incredible, and he is going to be a guy that like is going to age well too. Like he's going to stick around. He's going to be like a leader on a defense for a long time. Like I name drop Harrison Smith a lot, but he'll be the same thing. He'll be playing until he's 33, 34.
Probably on a new team. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe the Cardinals bring him back this offseason.
With as well as he's played, and also like as well as they've played, Arizona, like that defense has actually done pretty well.
Way scrappier than I thought they would be.
Considering like there's like. Your casual fan probably can't name anyone.
Probably can't name a single player on that defense.
So, Budda Baker, man, shout out. I love that dude. We probably were a little scared of him the past year because he was dealing with like a lot of injuries, like concussion stuff. Like he was taking some really big hits. It seemed like he was taking a lot of hits there, like in.
Well, and even in this game, banged up. I mean, the trainers you're like, Budda Baker's out. They're looking at his ankle.
He's an undersized dude. That's what you love about him, right? I mean, he's got that Allen Iverson factor in him, little scrappy dude, but
chip on the shoulder.
Heart the size of Texas.
It does. 194 points by Big 3 scoring right now. Second behind Alontae Taylor, 198. He is DB2 right now, safety 1. So, Budda Baker, Bobo. Hashtag good.
Would you try and trade for Budda Baker if you still could?
Absolutely.
If I was I think I did actually try to
second?
make a trade for Budda earlier this season.
He kind of feels to me like Jordan Poyer. Jordan Poyer, until recently, like there was a stretch from like 28 to like age 33 for Poyer to where it was like with the Bills, he's a top 10 safety. Budda just kind of feels like he's in that career arc where it's like
I don't think it's a
Budda's
rental.
not going anywhere.
I think you're going to have Budda for at least the next year or two.
It's kind of like you said about Derwin maybe a couple months ago of like I think we not necessarily now and not necessarily Derwin, but there's a time frame in some of these guys' careers where I think you sell them now, and then I think you go back and you buy them later,
But if you'd have done that with Budda, you'd have been happy if you'd have sold him after 147 tackles.
Yeah.
In 2019, and then scooped back in and got him after a little bit of a dip.
Would have worked for sure.
Would have been beautiful.
Yeah, because he would have been cheap. He would have been like a third this offseason.
Yes, exactly.
If that.
Yeah.
You mentioned Zach Sieler earlier. Secret Agent Sieler is on a mission right now, Addy. After a slow snart and start and fart. And missing 2 games in the middle of the season, he looks set to disappoint fantasy managers.
Give us a fart.
It's actually from Bobo's side of the table. Yes, he looks set to disappoint fantasy managers after a breakout season in 2023. However, since the Week 9 bye, Sieler has been on a blistering pace of almost 18 points per game with 4 sacks in his last 5 games. Could possibly propel fantasy managers to a title. Miami Surgeon, they're still kind of lurking in the playoff hunt. Zach Sieler, a big part of the reason why.
Seems like he does this every single year.
I know, right? I feel like we always have the Zach Sieler's kind of heating up conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just a good guy. He's a good player. He's a great guy.
Great guy. Great in the community. Sound like Lauren when he was breaking down our XFFL haul.
I like him.
Good
I like him quite a bit.
Great
salt of the earth.
Great
honestly.
group of guys.
He would. He would give you the shirt off his back.
He would.
Sure would.
But yeah, he's awesome, dude.
82% of
so
snaps. Yeah, this past week, 2 sacks, 4 pressures, 11.4% pressure rate for Zach.
And like his ADP will rise in these best balls this offseason, but it's still not going to be enough to like how he's going to do for you. Like he's always one of these guys that just is going to outproduce his ADP.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I wanted to look up what his ADP actually was because, well, and think about it too. We kind of wondered with the departure of Christian Wilkins to the Raiders, what does this look like for Zach Sieler? And up until like a few weeks ago, it wasn't looking great, but like you said earlier, kind of weeks 1 through 9 is like the first part of the season, and then from then forward is kind of the second half of the season.
Yeah.
So
we'll take it. That's the part of the season that
that's,
really matters.
That's when you really want him to start heating up for sure.
Uh-huh.
So
I like old Chopper being in there too. Nice little win rate, nice little pressure rate.
Yeah,
Chop's. It's a really good season for Chop. You know, we didn't think he's going to come in and just blow the doors open and put up a 15 sack rookie season. But the fact that he's got, what's he going to have? Maybe 5 sacks, 7 sacks by the time the season's over. That's what I wanted to see.
Yeah, he's a 21-year-old.
Yeah. Got a lot of career left ahead of him.
Just getting some opportunity with Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips out. Zach Sieler, DL 49, D tackle 12.
Chop really landed in one of the best situations just because of all those guys around him that were injured.
Yeah.
They had who was the guy? Shaq Barrett, unretired.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they
what's
were
the deal with him? Where's he back?
No, see, the Dolphins did not bring him off the retired list, but they hold his rights, so he's essentially just in purgatory. He can't play for anybody else.
Hate to be in purgatory.
Yeah, the Dolphins were like, we're good, man. Hey, yeah, appreciate you retiring on us like early in the season. We don't need you. Just sit your ass at home.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's a tough look. Not a tough look, though. Well, it was earlier in the season for Josh Hines-Allen. The name change curse looked like it was going to strike again, but he's had a little mini hot streak coming off the bye. He has sacks in back-to-back games. He has 7 sacks thus far in 2024. That is a far cry from 17.5 he collected last year, but he has the Jets, Raiders, Titans, and Colts to close out the year. He should extend that streak, I think, and probably get to at least 10 sacks on the season.
Yeah, I think so.
So down year for Josh Hines-Allen, but that's a pretty juicy stretch right there. Jets, Raiders, Titans for your playoffs.
Right. We'll be willing to forgive him a little bit if he can come through here at the end. Because he'll be starting. I mean, I think you should keep him in your lineup. Yeah, I mean, those are good matchups. A lot of dumb quarterbacks in the mix there. So
you got Aiden O'Connell with a deep knee bruise. Thought he was out for the season.
Yeah.
Thought we were getting Desmond Ridder.
got aircasted, right?
Yeah.
Carted
It's
off.
like they were reporting it as a serious knee injury. And then today it's like, nope, knee bruise. He wants to play on Sunday. It's like, all right, well, sorry, Desmond Ridder. Back to the bench with you, bud.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think.
Like my nose in the middle of the night.
I know. If you can notice the big old red whelp on Bobo's
Just
face.
suck it up.
But
Deal
yeah,
with it.
Josh Hines-Allen, Bobo.
Right,
Where are you sitting right now on Josh Hines-Allen? Because I know we've kind of been
Nah, I'm still tired of
pretty
him.
lukewarm on.
I've been tired of him. I'm still tired of him. Congratulations. If he does get to 10 sacks this year, I don't have him rostered in a lot of spots, to be honest with you. I don't know. I'm just kind of over it. I think we've seen the best of Josh Hines-Allen at this point in his career, and I don't know. I'm happy for the ways that he's helped me.
I love when the analysis is over it. just
it's
done with them.
It's true. You also got to remember, they play one more game now. Getting to 10 sacks, yawn.
Yeah.
Yawn.
It's not good enough. You know
I
what
want
I mean?
one
It's
sack
not
per
good enough.
game.
For you to be a dude that's getting drafted as like a top 9 edge rusher,
Yeah, he's gonna kill some.
the 10 sacks is not good enough.
He's gonna kill some madness teams. Like he probably will be one of the bustiest picks.
Dude,
I mean, really, all those guys, like I mentioned earlier, like those top 6 have all been kind of like,
Yeah, killed some teams.
So you do have Trayvon above Josh Allen in the ranks now. I was wondering that. When did that switch for you? A couple weeks ago?
Yeah, about a month ago.
I got you.
I think it's while we
Last
were
year.
talking, you moved Trayvon up above Josh Allen.
Yeah, whenever you return that touchdown.
That was it.
Yeah.
That did it. That athleticism. Let's keep it in the same division, though, boys. AFC South. Remember these Titans? No Kenneth Murray, no Jerome Baker, who apparently just got outright benched.
Yeah.
There's someone who follows the Titans closely on the forums for football guys, and I kind of check in just to see what's happening in Titans world. And yeah, Brian Callahan, the coach, just said, yeah, we just benched Jerome Baker.
Man,
So not great trade there for the Titans, letting loose Ernest Jones, who's been phenomenal for
Absolutely.
the Seahawks.
Yeah, man, Tyree.
Hey, see if you can maybe find a replacement with that 4th round pick, Titans. Wish you the best.
Tough for Jerome Baker, too.
Yeah,
Hate to
tough,
see that.
tough look. But, hey, no problem. If you grabbed Luke Gifford or Otis Reese, we are at Luke Gifford and Otis Reese part of the season. Both played at least 98% of the snaps, and Reese topped the scoreboard with 23 points thanks to an INT, but Gifford had 16.5 points on 11 tackles, so he wasn't too far behind Otis on the scoreboard. We'll keep an eye on Kenneth Murray's status. I think that Luke Gifford is probably the one who plays alongside Kenneth Murray if he's back, because it sounds like Jerome Baker is donezo.
Yeah. Yeah, I know our boy Mike W. was out there beating the drum pretty hard for old Gifford.
Yeah.
I picked him up in a few leagues because of Mike. So, yeah.
Feeling pretty good, right?
Feeling pretty good. Yeah. I mean, 11 tackles, and if he's going to be out there all the snaps, we'll Kenneth Murray also, shout out him. He's been really, really good lately too. Continues to play well. So, yeah, this is a fine option for you. A linebacker three type, I think.
Yeah. And Otis Reese, hey, if Kenneth Murray continues to miss, I mean,
Sure, same thing.
That's
A linebacker 4.
yeah, we're at this part of the season, Bobo, where it's like, sure, why the hell not?
2024's Jack Sanborn.
There you go.
Yeah, it could be Kaliki Hudson time.
Yes,
Kaliki
sir.
Hudson, my most roster player.
Gosh,
Still waiting on Kaliki to hit.
Also, speaking of,
This is his time.
This
He
is
could
his time.
Could appear
Last 3
recent.
weeks of the year.
Cedric Gray must be just terrible if all these guys are playing over him at this point. So
Yeah, it's true. True that.
no play for old Cedric.
Old
But
Cedric.
you also got to kind of think that coaching staff is probably going to change over a couple times. So
Agreed.
maybe he gets a shot with a new coach. Probably not.
Probably
They'll-
not.
Don't want to bring in their own guy.
Maybe,
Just trying to.
but probably not. But maybe.
Hold on.
Don't want to
though.
hurt Cedric's feelings if he's tuning in.
Sure.
But you may be, but
You may be cheeks galore right now.
Who are the
Sorry,
hot seats
Cedric.
in the NFL right now, coaching wise?
Well, McCarthy is actually, his contract runs out. So
Okay.
I was reading today, he can decide, I've had enough of Jerry Jones stuff. I'm out of here. So that's one to watch. I think you saw Dak Prescott put his full kind of faith behind. And it was Micah Parsons, actually, I think, that said, we want McCarthy back. I want everybody to just run it back. So we'll see.
he felt bad though about the other soundbite
Yeah.
where he said that Mike wasn't working as hard.
Yeah,
as some
yeah.
other
I think
people.
this was maybe an apology tour a
Yeah.
little bit. So yeah,
And
I
Micah
think
Parsons was acting like a little weirdo last night on the sidelines. Like very aware that the camera was on him. It's like, dude, you're being a little theatrical.
a little too dramatic.
I don't care for
you
that.
just got
Pull
a
it
big
down.
donut in your box score, brother. Like didn't
Yep.
do nothing.
We're gonna lower
Whole
you in
lot of
Adam's
nothing.
ranks.
Yeah.
We're
Had
gonna
to
knock you down.
It's a bad look for the young man.
Luckily, like everyone else is.
Left the field
Sucked.
early.
Sucked as well. So yeah, I think McCarthy is definitely on the hot seat. I think Doug Peterson's definitely gone.
Gerard Mayo.
I think Mayo is a kind of dark horse kind of fire.
Okay.
I think that you could see the Raiders coach
yeah.
on the hot seat as well. Why can I not think of his name?
Antonio Pierce.
Yes,
Yeah.
the former player. I think Pierce is on the hot seat. So yeah, those guys
Sirianni's
for sure.
good.
Sirianni's fine now because the Eagles are surging.
Y'all are okay.
Brian Daboll, yeah, I think Brian Daboll's probably.
You think the Colts are
gone.
okay?
Yeah, if the Colts finish the year, even if they don't make the playoffs, I think if they finish strong and look competitive and AR looks good, then yeah, I think Steichen probably gets another year. I think Callahan's potentially on the hot seats. You've heard the little rumbles with Kevin Stefanski on the hot seat.
Sam Darnold threw 5 touchdowns last week.
Dude,
That just crossed my mind. Thinking about Kevin O'Connell.
that was such a fun game.
Good Lord.
JA 3, JJ 2.
Goodness gracious.
I think that,
There needs to be like people are sleeping on Addison so much. This is like a Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt type
Yeah.
situation.
Yes.
These dudes are both studs.
do you want them to re-sign Darnold? Bring him
He
back?
can come back.
That's it. I mean, I think if it were me,
See what he does in
man,
playoffs.
I would like. I mean, here's what I think they should do: just tag him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
1
true.
year tag,
Yep.
and
Give
then
JJ a little more
Yeah.
time to develop.
yeah, I haven't seen that
Rehab.
floated out. But that's like the obvious. Like, let's just tag him, run it back with him.
You don't have
can.
any other like major candidates for the tag?
JJ got paid, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
Addison's still rookie.
He's got 2 left. Well,
Hawkinson.
actually, Addison's got 3 because of the
That's true.
first rounder.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
5th year option.
Hawkinson is
He's paid.
locked up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he's the candidate.
And
man.
defensively, you're like
Van Ginkel's on a 2-year deal. Gernard's on a 3-year deal, I think, 4-year deal.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's a good call. Tag
Yeah,
him.
tag him.
I like that.
Because I think otherwise Darnold could be going and getting like a 4-year, $160 million deal out there somewhere.
But boy, I would not want to give it.
$40 million a year.
either.
That's
Now
just,
you could see like 25 to 35, but I think he's played so well that it's more than like a Baker or Geno situation where there's like this middle class quarterback contract that those guys have.
Yeah.
I think Darnold has risen above that.
I just think everyone sees it as the coaching, though, elevating him.
Hopefully they understand that this is a perfect system for this guy.
Hopefully,
For every guy.
But the Jets
Yeah.
could be in the
You know?
mix,
Yeah.
you know. The
I'm throwing
Titans
two to
could
Addison
be in the
on-
mix.
on
The
sure.
Raiders could be in the mix. There's a lot of dumb teams out there that could say, well, we can find a coach
There's
like
a couple
KOC.
of those, the ball, one of the first touchdowns to Addison,
Yeah.
what is like an underthrown ball. It was just the receiver making a play on it.
Yep.
And, you know, that happens a
A lot of it's Addison. Addison's
Addison's
route
sick,
running is
dude.
really good.
I think you drafted
Darnold's been awesome. I don't want to throw shade, but I'm
Yes.
just saying, like, you know.
you drafted J.J. McCarthy for a reason.
Yeah.
You don't want to keep that guy on the bench. For
I would
3 or
like for him
4
to come
years.
back for a year, though.
Yeah.
I think that'd be just
I
a nice
agree.
little bridge.
Yep, I agree. Just give you a little bit of insurance. You can bring him along slowly, and then 2026, it's JJ season.
Yeah.
It's liftoff
But there
season.
have been moments this year where Darnold has been like a doofus. you
Yeah.
know? He's still got that in him.
He's still got those ghosts in the back of his
Sure.
mind, you know.
Speaking offensively, that's what I told you I was worried about with Puka. Of like, if Stafford, I feel like a lot of the wives in the NFL are the reason why Aaron Donald doesn't play football anymore, you know? And Kelly Stafford's pretty integral in Matt Stafford's decision making. And
But
like,
here's
how
the
many
thing.
more years are you going to do this, you know? And
You
it's-
all have that kind of KOC type of offensive play caller, though, where it's like, even if y'all did have to go find another quarterback,
Yeah.
you still have got a great system.
Yep.
Even if it was someone a tier down, like a Baker or somebody like that.
And you'll
you know?
find a quarterback.
You
But-
will.
But what I'm saying though is like I'm worried about like a post Matt Stafford world for Puka. Like I think Cup is kind of the ship is kind of sailing for Cup a little bit.
Jameis Winston coming in, 2026.
Dude. Oh, Lord.
Could you imagine?
Bring it
Jameis,
on.
oh my God,
How sick would that be?
That'd be 45 touchdowns and like 38 interceptions.
Or maybe
friend-
not. Maybe he corrects the interceptions.
I just
not, no.
I just hope that Stafford doesn't retire this year because I feel like Aaron Rodgers is done, and he's to the point to where it's like, dude,
Stafford's
it's been
got
so
some
over.
more years, dude.
Stafford has more time
He's
left
like
in him. I feel
36, right? 30.
yeah, it's kind of feel like
Or he's always like surprisingly like younger than I think.
it's
he
his
is.
16th year in the NFL. Like this is his
He's probably like
16th season.
37 or so.
Somewhere in there. But like even with Donald, like I thought Donald played great last year.
Of course he did.
My
yeah.
wife will want me to retire
J.J.
at some
Watt,
point
yeah.
too, though.
He's 36, February 7th.
There
was
you
his
go.
birthday, 1988.
Well, speaking of
Shout
old,
out. Same as me.
old, there you go, birthday boy.
February 9th.
Look at you.
All right. Well, speaking of
Sick.
old man strength,
cool.
let's talk about Cam
It's
Heyward,
really close.
boys.
We
We should talk about
there's
that some
nothing.
more.
We can't top that, Josh. Let's just shut
end
it
it.
down.
All right, there we go.
Close it
See y'all
up.
later.
Thanks for tuning
Take
in,
care.
guys.
Good luck in your playoffs. Hope this helped. Cam Heyward, DL scoring is predominantly dominated by edge rushers, especially on sleeper, but when there are those special big boys on the interior who stand out no matter what, if they're lumped in with the edges, Cam Heyward is one of those big boys. He's currently D tackle 1 in total points scored and DL 9 on the season thanks to another multi-sack game this weekend. This is just Cam Heyward doing Cam Heyward things.
Wasn't there somebody throwing a little shade at Cam Heyward, kind of saying last season that he just kind of needed to step back a little bit? He didn't have it anymore.
Probably.
I think that was like out there. I don't remember who said it.
I'm sure it
but
was out there. There's a lot of stuff out there. Everything's out there. Honestly.
Everything is. It's all out there.
It's all
it
out
is.
there, folks.
Just, I mean, grown ass man.
Yep.
You know.
This is the in my mind, this is the poster child for grown ass man.
Yeah,
strength.
he is the grown ass man right now.
Yep. Calais Campbell's another
That's
example
the,
as well,
the
right?
Other thought I had. Yes.
Like the Mount Rushmore, those two guys are getting chiseled onto that Mount Rushmore first.
Yep. No doubt about it.
Just continue to do the damn thing, Bobo.
I mean, Cam Heyward. Why not? I was thinking about Aaron Donald. He's probably not on there. He's too
He's like 31, isn't he?
he's too ripped up. He's too ripped up to be. He's not
old enough.
He's not dad.
If he comes
strength.
back in like 3 years, then we can talk about dad strength.
Come
or,
on back, Aaron.
Old man strength.
Come on, dude. We need you.
for the playoffs.
We need you, brother.
It would be nice to have
You and
him back.
JJ both
would be.
come back to a contender.
JJ Watt too.
Let's
JJ
let
Watt
it rip.
was really good when he left too. It's like, come on, guys. There was still some meat on the bone.
Yeah.
A lot of meat on the bone for those dudes.
JJ
Yeah,
had a really good last
absolutely.
year. Really, really good.
Speaking of the Steelers, though, Alex Highsmith back in the mix sends Nick Herbig back to the bench. I think a 43% snap share this past weekend.
Yeah.
So, kind of what we expected. But, hey, good to have Alex Highsmith back. It's like an embarrassment of riches for the Steelers.
Yeah, Herbig is he's just kind of been existing the last couple weeks. Hadn't really done a ton. Kind of same with Thule. Thule's definitely, he had a couple sacks there, a little bright light, but he's kind of regressed a little bit too. I don't know. Still just going to take a little time.
Yeah.
A little time.
That's how it be.
Be patient.
That is
That's
the
how it be.
position. That is the position, folks.
That's how it be.
You know, if you're enjoying it and loving it, it is going to probably come to an end for a little bit. And then it may pick up and you'll be loving it again, but it's going to stop.
Yeah.
Like
Always
McDonald's,
stops.
you might be loving it, but
It's
also-
rare. It's
yeah.
like, it's very rare that, you know, you can have.
When's
like,
the last time y'all had McDonald's?
I've been out of the fast food game lately, like just mainly
Out of the
focusing
game.
Yeah.
focusing on
He
Chick-fil-A.
J.J. Wadded. He hung it up.
Just Chick-fil-A,
Right in his prime.
Chick-fil-A and Chipotle. We got a new Chipotle
Yes,
in
we
town
did.
now. This
Yes,
is
we did.
great news for me.
Chipotle's
That
not-
brisket is bomb that they got
Chipotle's
there.
not fast food to me, though.
Fast casual.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I mean it costs the same.
Sure.
So, yeah, there is
You know,
no fast food anymore in terms of price.
It's $10 for a bowl.
Yeah.
To answer your question, though, probably legit been half a decade, maybe longer.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it was
long.
probably breakfast, maybe.
Sometimes I could get to craving a double cheese.
Little McGriddle.
Yeah, and I'll have I'll
Little
have
McGriddle, little
their
McCafe.
brekkies pretty good.
Sure.
The sausage burritos.
You want to
those
go
were-
now?
Yeah, kind of get my mouth
It is
watering.
kind of sounding good now. Damn
The
it.
Cokes are really good. They do.
Yeah.
They
Oh.
sprinkle some crack in the
Yeah.
Cokes.
$1 iced coffee drinks from like 6 to 11 a.m.
Got to get the app. The app has dollar drinks.
You're out of the game, though.
They have, but I'm aware of the app.
I'm still in the app game.
Well, I do have kids, and they love the McDonald's, right?
Yeah,
they love the McDonald's.
They love the hot cakes.
Little chick chicks.
They like the nugs.
Somewhere in like a crunchy California town, someone listening to this is like, "Oh my God,
Yeah.
McDonald's
You
for
feed
your
that to
children."
'em. It's Kentucky. Yeah,
Yes, of course we do. There's Mountain Dew in their
Have whatever
baby
they-
bottles.
They have whatever they want.
Donuts for
kidding me?
breakfast every morning.
Yeah.
Donuts for lunch. Donuts for dinner.
Dude, we got some pounder donuts at the house this week, and I just shake my head.
Some
just
donuts?
thinking like, yeah, some little babies. And
Got some donuts.
I don't need them, but I'm going to eat them if they're in the house.
Don't need them, but I'm
If
gonna
it's
eat
in
them.
the house, I'm eating it.
It's going in my mouth.
Care what it is.
We're still eating Halloween candy. We got a bucket of it that we do for dessert every
Josh,
night.
that's nasty.
Yeah.
That's
It's,
nasty.
It's
getting,
fine.
getting a little sus at this point. I'm not
You're
gonna
just
lie.
a month out, right? A month and a half. That's still not a big deal.
Yeah, we're still in the window.
After Christmas is gonna be a
though,
little concerned.
If it was
gotta
like
go.
Easter candy, it's just too long for Easter.
That's too long. I'm glad we've established at what point the candy
Kids
life
just
cycle.
sitting on the couch chewing on some
yeah,
peeps.
yeah, the
Yeah.
peeps
Just
are like
hard.
concrete.
I feel like 3-4 months is about all.
3-4 months. All right. Well, we'll throw it out after maybe like Valentine's Day because
There
we'll
you
be
go.
on to Valentine's Day candy at that point.
Sure.
But speaking of Christmas, all wrapped up for Christmas, Baba.
I like that.
Taylor Rapp finished with a solid game, 13.75 points thanks to 13 total tackles. He's averaging 14.3 points per game over the last 3 weeks thanks to 42 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 2 INTs. Taylor Rapp looking pretty good, Bobo.
Yeah, man, right when we need him. You know, safety's been kind of a weird position this year. Aside from somebody else we'll talk about here in a minute, and then you've got Budda Baker and Nick Cross playing well. It is nice to see Taylor Rapp kind of heating up because I really expected this move to Buffalo to be great for Taylor Rapp. I expected him to, play a ton of snaps. I expected him to actually see some pretty good production up there because kind of all offseason their linebackers have been weird from the standpoint of like Milano's been hurt. They did have, the young guys in there that were playing well. But anyways, with Taylor Rapp, it's good to see not only the tackles but the big plays coming through when we need him. Next 3 weeks, you got a passing team in Detroit. You got a terrible team in New England in Week 16, and then you get to see the Jets in Week 17. So I don't know about Week 16 and 17 from a production perspective, but for Week 15, fire the boy up because while Jared Goff's throwing it, Taylor Rapp should be tackling it.
That's a lot of tackles, Addy. I want my safeties to be little tackle machines. Taylor Rapp's been doing the damn thing last few
Been
weeks.
very good. Usage is pretty solid, I believe. So yeah, he's a great option this year for you.
Yeah, I can tell you the usage here thanks to John Macri's IDP report over at PFF.com. Yes, Taylor Rapp, 100% of snaps along with DeMar Hamlin. He played 41.6% of his snaps in the box, 6.5 in the slot.
That's
So
very
it's
solid.
almost evenly split between deep safety, 48%, and about 48% box and slot.
Taylor Rapp 1-year deal or 2-year deal there in Buffalo.
I don't know.
Hopefully we see Taylor Rapp and Cole Bishop play
Wow.
alongside each other.
This is impressive.
Next
According to John, DeMar Hamlin, Taylor Rapp both had a great game in terms of tackles. Made more impressive as the Los Angeles Rams had given up the lowest amount of tackles per game to safeties over the last 3 games. So probably the fact it was sort of this offensive shootout, there was a lot of tackles to be had.
For sure.
But, hey, guy with that kind of track record the last few weeks playing 100% of snaps,
Yeah.
Taylor Rapp is, if you're starting 2 safeties, Taylor Rapp's in your lineup.
And the forced fumble and 2 INTs. You know, not only the tackles, but the big plays are nice to see too. Taylor Rapp under contract with the Bills through 2026.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So got him a nice little 2-year deal.
And I believe Hamlin is a UFA.
I think you're right.
So Bishop season should be here.
Yeah.
Should be Cole and Taylor next season.
Love to see it.
Hope so. Hopefully it's not like one of those sentimental deals they give Hamlin. Like, oh, you almost died.
Yeah. This is the least. This is like some
Yeah.
hazard pay,
Yeah.
some workman's comp we owe you.
We feel like we need to do right by you tomorrow, or you'll put a curse on our team.
Yeah, seriously, it would not be good. That would be some bad karma. Well, number 9 point here, boys. Ossai, can you see all these sacks? Not my best work, since it is Joseph Ossai. Maybe you're sighing after hearing that pun. But Joseph Ossai is on a heater. 3 games in a row that Ossai has collected a sack, stretching back to before the Bengals Week 12 bye. Next up, the Titans and Will Levis and his mayonnaise brain. Here's hoping he can push it to a 4-game streak. Has taken over for Sam Hubbard, Joseph Ossai. Now gets Will Levis and the Titans. I think Joseph Ossai is entering like must-start territory.
Tighten up.
Tighten up.
Yeah, I mean, this is good stuff. Yeah, why not? You know? I mean, it is a little scary, though.
Sure.
It is a little scary.
The Titans are such a good
But they are
matchup,
so
though, dude.
bad. They love to give up the sacks.
Let me see what the snap was.
Then
It
he
was
gets Cleveland week 16 and then Denver week 17.
Yeah,
That's good. I mean,
Yeah.
still
Okay.
only 50% of snaps, so I get it. Sam Hubbard down at 35%. Miles Murphy at 56.7.
very interesting.
Yep,
Gotta figure that maybe they just part ways with Hubbard next season.
could be.
'Cause I
I think they can save some serious money.
Yeah, he's owed quite a bit. So
And they're going to keep T. Higgins, apparently.
are they?
That's
That's
what Joe Burrow came out today
said.
and
We will find a way to keep both of these guys.
Well, can they not just tag T?
I don't know how happy T would be with another. He
second
tagged.
franchise
'Cause they
tag in
tagged
a
him.
row.
Yeah.
Still probably worth it though.
And for T as well, that's guaranteed. That's 100% guaranteed money.
How much is it?
Oh, the tag
25, 30.
Yeah, probably.
No brainer.
Yeah, that's a lot. But, I mean,
That's no brainer though. Also to not have to have like the long term commitment if you're Cincinnati, who's like
The cheapest organization in the NFL.
because they're gonna lose him at some point.
yeah, for sure.
You know, but like that would be
Keep him
nice.
one more year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to see what the franchise tag number was for wide receivers
But
if they
I-
have that
I
calculated
think
for next year.
He'll get that he would get that per year in a big contract too. I feel like he would get like
Yeah, $25.6 million is the projected franchise tag for wide receivers.
Did that-
that's a steal. He'd get like a 4-year, 100 and something,
120.
30, right? Yeah.
Didn't it come out that New England offered him a lot this offseason? Was it T?
I don't know because they put the franchise tag on him, so I don't think you're able to negotiate
Well, I
once
guess
you've
that's
been
true.
franchise tagged.
I don't know what I'm thinking of then.
Basically, you can sign it and play, or you can hold out, but then your contract doesn't toll, so you're right back in the same situation. The franchise tag really is kind of an unfair advantage for NFL
I
teams.
kind of would like to see T go be somewhere by himself. I think T has that ability to be a team's number one.
The Pats would be smart to throw a ton of money at him.
For sure.
And give Drake May a legit wide receiver one.
Yeah,
After KJ Osborne and the team mutually agreed to part
I
ways.
saw that today.
And that's got to be frustrating for T. Like last night, you know, Jamar Chase just getting target
crazy.
after target after
Yep.
target.
Did y'all watch any of the Simpsons broadcast?
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to. It wasn't on the. It wasn't on the.
I think
phone.
it was maybe ESPN Plus or something. I don't know what stream it was. I just saw highlights from it on Twitter. It was pretty funny.
I saw
Grow up-
some.
I thought it would
up-
have been good. I was going to tune into that.
Growing
instead
up
if I
watching
could.
The Simpsons, seeing like Homer Simpson drop back and throw to like Ralph Wiggum, and then
That's pretty
like
funny.
people saying you lose the chance to go to the playoffs because Lisa Simpson, runs a touchdown in.
Marge. Who was running the? Was it Lisa?
Yeah,
What's
Lisa.
the mom's name?
Yeah, Marge.
Was maybe there was some like halfback tosses to Marge where she was like getting out wide and just cutting through defenders. It was
Dude,
pretty
the
awesome to watch.
bartender Mo Sislak was like locking up wide receivers in coverage. It was great. It was so stupid.
awesome.
I loved it so much. You got to wonder who, because they did Toy Story. Now you got to wonder after The Simpsons, where do they go next? Like, what's the next Disney property that they're going to?
We'll see South Park get one.
South Park would be insane. You'd have to put that on like Comedy Central
Yeah,
or
for
something.
sure.
You can't put that on the Plus. All right, well, you mentioned safeties, Bobo.
could you?
The King is on the
able to.
upswing. Derwin James getting back to peak form at just the right time. In the past 4 weeks, he's accumulated 28 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and a pick to give him an average of 17.87 points per game by Big Three scoring in that span.
Yeah.
Bobo, you wanted to bring up Derwin James.
Yeah, I mean, it's about time. This is the time of year where you want your safeties to heat up. I mean, Taylor Rapp is he's heating up in his own right, but he's no Derwin James. I mean, Derwin James is King Derwin for a reason. John Macri loves him. We love him in here. Can we trust him? Can we trust him the next couple weeks? Do you think this is this sticky here?
I mean, can you, unlike Fred Warner, who has the fractured foot, and you have a clear reason to want to sit him down, you can't sit Derwin James in your fantasy playoffs, right? Interesting. He played 52.2% of his snaps in the slot.
Yeah.
Elijah Molden, the other safety, getting 100%. And then Marcus May, 88.4%.
Molden is a nice little call out because
sure.
he gets a cornerback designation in a lot of leagues. I know he gets one in RSO, and he's filling in for Alohi Gilman. So, I mean, he's playing that second safety there alongside Derwin.
Alohi Gilman went on injured reserve. Tony Jefferson was out, so Marcus May filling in as that third safety. Blast from the past.
But yeah, I mean, I think you got to roll Derwin out there
for sure.
I mean,
He's playing well too. Like he's playing well here recently. So
yeah, you probably rolling out there when he was struggling. So I mean, what would you stop now?
it's
for?
like you get too cute, I think, with your lineups in the playoffs, and it could come back to bite you.
Still Derwin James. We've gotten 5 years of evidence this guy can be a weak tilting type performer for your lineup. So I mean, yeah, just. You got to roll him out there, and also safety is a hard position anyway.
Yeah,
like it's who can you rely on? Outside of like Budda Baker and
that's what I didn't mean bench him. I just meant like, is he gonna show out for you? You're gonna start him. I mean, Tampa Bay, Denver, then Week 17 at New England. So especially this week with Tampa Bay, that's a pretty nice little matchup, I would think.
He was quiet this week. He only had 2 tackles. But he had a sack, and it looks like a sack and a. That was it. It was a sack.
If it's typical Derwin,
2
I'd
tackles.
say a lot of coverage on Kelsey. That's normally what he does in those Kansas City games.
But the past 3 weeks,
that could be good for tackles
for sure.
10 tackles, 6 tackles, 10 tackles, 2 tackles. So, just a little bit of an anomaly.
I mean, at worst, he's a safety too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So unless you're going to start one.
But you're right. It's not like we have a plethora of safeties that are just like, oh, you've got all these other guys that would be better options than Derwin.
Just appreciate the fact you have a locked and loaded starter.
Absolutely.
That's playing well here recently. So.
You trading him off season?
Probably trying to trade 4.
Trade for him.
So your top safeties right now since week 7, Budda Baker, Kobe Bryant, shout out, Kyle Hamilton, Derwin James, Trevor Moehrig, Nick Cross. So I mean, Derwin James is 4th in total points since week 7. So yeah, of course, you're
Trayvon Moehrig.
Yeah. I picked him up in XFFL to replace Minka, old Stinka Fitzpatrick.
Man, did you drop Minka?
Deshaun Elliott,
no, he's
7.
still hanging in there.
That's a big one. Deshaun Elliott, he's been really
he's
good
been
this
great.
season.
Yeah.
He's been really good here recently.
13.1 points per game since week 7. Yeah, Kobe Bryant though, 15.1 points per game since week 7. He probably has cornerback designation in a lot of places.
For sure.
Mamba mentality.
So
Let's go, Kobe.
love to see that.
All right. Well, you mentioned the edge rushers. Nick Bosa, been a bit of a disappointment here recently, ever since the hat came on in that famous post-game interview.
Yeah,
Nick Bosa has been under a little bit of voodoo, a little bit of a curse here.
Can we make Nick Bosa great again?
Hopefully in time
on.
for your playoffs. But in his absence, he had the hip flexor injury, missed another game. 49ers pass rush, didn't miss a beat against the most sacked quarterback in the NFL, Caleb Williams. Whoever's play, I don't know who's playing the Bears this coming week. Yes. Whatever edge rusher is opposite Caleb Williams, start him. I don't care who you have in front of him. Start those dudes.
Yeah. Caleb Williams is just immediately under pressure after every snap.
And he has that Andrew Luck.
Oh my gosh.
Can't let go of a play. Got to try to make something happen, Gene.
This week at Minnesota.
Oh, baby.
God. Andrew Van Ginkel about to go for 3 sacks.
Yeah, it's a shame I got to buy in the leagues I got him in.
Hate that for you, Eddie.
Hate that.
Hate that. But hey, Leonard Floyd and Yetur Gross-Matos combined for 5 sacks and over 60 fantasy points, with Yeats taking home the trophy for the highest IDP score on the week in the league.
Got to start Gross-Matos next week.
Got to get Yeats and Floyd, attorneys at law, in the game.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, don't chase points, people.
Yep.
Floyd has 5 sacks in the last 4 weeks, though. He has 8 on the season. He gets the Rams on Thursday, must-win scenario for the 49ers to keep their playoff hopes alive. Stafford wasn't sacked against the Bills, but he was sacked 11 times in the 3 games prior against the Saints, Eagles, and Dolphins.
Yeah, Leonard Floyd, same as he's always been, a nice edge 3-4 type for you. So is he going to get 10 sacks again this season? Probably.
So he's at 8 right now, so probably.
Probably so. That's what he does.
Every year, 10 sacks. Just as soon as the sun will rise, Bobo, Leonard Floyd's going to get you 10 sacks.
I kind of like him this week. I have some leagues I would probably start him in. You're right, Adam. Edge 3-4. I mean, he's not going to be a replacement for he's not going to be like a Myles Garrett or a Max Crosby this week. But
he's in the mix for that edge 2 spot on your team, probably.
Yeah, you're not starting Yeats this week, but I mean, Floyd, you could do way worse. Stafford will take some sacks. I mean, he didn't take any last week, so the coverage for the offensive line was exceptional. But I mean, I've been starting Leonard Floyd for, I don't know, a month now.
Revenge game narrative too.
You never know. Here it comes.
Big game Thursday night. It's a little
At
wacky.
San Fran.
Those games are always kind of wonky.
Yeah.
Never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Rams are hot and cold. Like, they can look awesome, and then they can have an off week, Vikings do the same stuff.
Yep.
So, similar teams.
Shanahan's hard sometimes for McVay. He can't. Shanahan's he's a weird out.
He's a weird out.
He is, man. Can't get past him.
You seem like a weird guy.
I remember the last Rams 49ers game. One of my favorite pictures of the year was McVay putting his hand on top of Shanahan's head as he was walking away. Someone retweeted it and said, he sunned him so hard. He's like, it's all right, son. You'll be all right. Go get him next time. Go get him. Buddy. I was like, oh, man, I love that phrase. He sunned him so hard. And he did. You can go find the photo. It was a very, disrespectful Sean McVay kind of moment.
I love that.
Yeah, give him a noogie.
Yeah. It was on purpose.
Just good stuff. Well, hopefully we get Nick Bosa back in time for your playoffs. A guy who's not going to be back for your playoffs that's a stud, Antoine Winfield Jr., just 16 snaps before leaving the game with a knee injury. He's since been ruled out for the next few weeks, probably done for the fantasy season. It's been a rough injury-laden season for last year's DB1 overall. When he's on the field, he's been incredible, but he'll end the season likely just playing 9 games. Overall, on a related note, Tyke Smith, not a safety. So it's looking like the replacement there is going to be some combination, Addy. I have it here at the top of the doc. Let's see.
Starts with a K.
Yes, it is Kayvon Merriweather or Mike Edwards are your 2 likely replacements for Winfield Jr.
KM got some snaps. Merriweather.
KM.
Yeah.
Oh, you said K-Ham. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
We're on a different team, Addy.
Yeah, I call him KM.
Yeah, it says if Mike Edwards is able to return next week, he'd likely slide into a starting role next to Isian, which would keep Mayweather from repeating his production, according to John Macri.
I don't think you're starting any of those guys. I'm not starting Edwards, not starting Merriweather.
Not in round 1 of the playoffs.
You are considering Tyke Smith. We're just hoping that he stays healthy. That's been an issue with him lately because it was concussions and then it was knee. Love to see him back this past week, but only played 65% of the snaps. I do feel like that was probably because they were easing him back into action.
Yeah.
Yep.
They want to. This dude's special, man. They want to make sure that dude is right and ready for him as they make their push run.
It does say, according to John's article, the Las Vegas Raiders only played 22% of their offensive snaps in 11 personnel, bringing down the nickel usage.
There you go.
So may have been a game plan type of thing.
Yeah, but also I just feel like it will open up more opportunity for Tyke to do different stuff. Like he will be sprinkled in a little bit more in different spots, I think. Like, I mean, if you look at like his alignment, like it's not just exclusively slot. Like he does get a couple snaps at free safety, a couple on the defensive line, a couple in the box, so they sprinkle him a little bit. So you could see that tick up a little bit. But yeah, for the most part, he's going to be manning that slot. I would imagine like 80% of his snaps are going to be in the slot.
And that's good. We like that.
Yeah.
I want to see the snap share go up, and maybe now with Winfield out, the DB's kind of collage looks a little bit different, but his role as that slot cornerback is solidified. That is what he does.
Yeah. Yeah. Love Tyke Smith, playmaker. Make something happen.
Dog.
Every time he's out there, did the same thing this
On
week.
the dog list.
Like, oh yeah, Tyke's back. Making plays.
We need, who is it? Bruce Feldman has the freak list every year. We need the dog list.
Yeah, it'd be Tyke.
End of the year. Who's on the dog list, Bobo?
Dog list. Might be, I don't know. I have to think about that a little bit.
Hey, Zach Bond.
Yeah.
I was looking on PFF today. Do you know he's number 1 as far as linebackers?
Really?
That is
Graded-
surprising, but
graded.
not surprising.
Like a 90.7, I think, overall PFF grade. Number 1. Second is Fred Warner.
Wow.
It's
And
insane.
look at the who was 1 and 2 for almost most of the fantasy season there. I think Zach Bond is number 1 now, with Fred having been banged up with the ankle.
Bond.
Crazy.
Wow.
League winner.
Yep, certified.
We're going to have the IDP MVP episode, I think January 7th that comes out. Going to be a lot of Zach Bond on that episode.
I'd say 25 to 50% Bond.
You have yours yet?
ABG will be sprinkled in.
There's some good candidates, y'all. Like, I think it's because I always look at like MVP for me is the gap between end of the like total performance on the year and ADP, right? Because now you can have a different definition. That's just where at least my analysis starts is like who vastly outperformed their ADP. Van Ginkel he's edge 1. He was drafted as edge 36. Nick Benito was 4, drafted as edge 55. Nakobe Dean, LB 4 right now, was drafted as LB 44. Same team, kind of funny. Yeah. Nick Cross, safety 3, drafted as safety 76. Here's another one. Jamian Sherwood, LB 8, drafted as LB 126. So there's some good contenders out there.
Your boy shouted out Sherwood mid-season saying he was for real. And also, like, it didn't matter if C.J. Mosley was coming back. I've seen that take a lot. Bro, that was Sherwood's job.
You said weeks ago, don't care.
Doesn't
Probably
matter.
not getting his job back.
No, and I think he was losing it anyway.
I think it was, one of those things where it was Jover for C.J. Mosley. I was not worried at all when he came back. Sherwood seemed locked in there, and so did Quincy Williams.
Yeah.
Gosh, there's going to be just a bomb go off in the New York Jets locker room this year.
Yeah,
Who's
for
going to be
sure.
left at the end?
Maybe nobody.
I
think Rodgers probably retires. I mean, obviously they've already fired Saleh. Joe Douglas is gone. They're going to cut
all the
Devontae
wide
Adams.
receivers are gone.
Yep.
What a toxic place, man.
Absolutely.
Now you see rumors swirling that Garrett Wilson's going to ask for a trade.
He probably will.
You should.
Yeah,
probably.
get the hell out of
there, dude.
Get the hell out of there.
Wow.
So, but yes, Zach Bond will be. I think I try not to throw the league winner label around too much, but Zach Bond
He is.
the most deserving of that title this
All
year.
those guys you mentioned. I mean, ABG, Benito, Bond, Sherwood is in consideration for like second half of the season. But yeah, I mean, those would be the candidates. I think. You know, a lot of bust.
A lot of busts. Seems like more busts than usual this year.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird year. Like it's interesting. Like there's a lot of busts at edge. There was a ton of bust at wide receiver, right?
Yes.
2 positions that are usually very stable and like safe and secure
Great
for us.
long-term dynasty assets.
Right.
Sucked this year.
So yeah, tough year if you play dynasty.
Yes. Frankie Louvu was another one, sitting I think is LB 2 or 3 right now. He was drafted pretty high. I think EJ Speed will probably be in the mix for me, just because I flag planted him.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a little bit of a heart connection there, and he's been good. Do you all think somebody was asking about on the Football Guys forum dynasty stashes, like deep dynasty stashes at linebackers for crappy teams? Jalen Carlise for the
Mm-hmm.
Colts got thrown around a little bit. I think if you're looking for the EJ Speed replacement, he's probably it. I feel like the Colts probably bring EJ Speed back.
Yeah.
That's just kind of my gut feel right now. I don't know if y'all had a different take on
Yeah,
it.
no, I mean, I kind of could see Speed getting a good little deal somewhere else, and it being kind of difficult for Indy to bring back.
Action.
Yeah, because they already got Zaire, who also, side note, playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah.
You gotta
Leading
give
the
him a
league in
shout.
tackles, yeah.
Playing insane. Like, I was looking at his log, like, God dang, this dude
Yeah.
is balling right now.
That's what he's done.
Dude, I
What he does.
knew he was banged up to end the year. I know there was a little bit of stink on him for how that season wound down with EJ Speed out playing him, but he was just hurt, you know, and now fully healthy.
Maniac.
That defense has like a triangle of players. It's like Nick Cross and then Zaire Franklin and EJ Speed. Those are the only ones getting tackles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that triangle roves around the field and just sucks up the ball carrier. Nobody else is getting tackles.
But, yeah, I mean, I would definitely pick up, Carlise?
Carlise, yeah, Jalen Carlise.
But yeah, former defensive back. I mean, he limited playing time, but looked really good. Like PFF stuff was really good. I think it was like in the 70s as far as overall grade.
He
goes.
would have been the guy at that Grant Stewart week,
I think
but he got
so.
hurt and went out, so Stewart came in.
So yeah, he's free. I mean, you got to add him just in case he does get an opportunity. But I mean, like, we see that happen a lot with these guys. Like Nick Cross was a guy that it took a little bit to before we got to see him, and then it worked out well. So Indy does a good job of like identifying talent.
And I think they'll keep Gus Bradley around. I think they'll run this coaching staff back as long as we don't like melt down and like totally crash and burn into the season. I think Steichen comes back, and I think Gus Bradley comes back. Our defense is terrible, though. They showed the averages for like rushing, passing, and like overall, and then maybe like one other one. We were like 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. It was it's pretty bad. It's pretty putrid.
Something we should keep more track of, just because I mean, if it is bad, then we should expect a lot of turnover.
And that might be a reason why they don't keep EJ Speed. You know, maybe
Yeah.
they see the linebacking core is,
needs improvement.
Exactly.
Try something else out.
yeah.
Yep.
And
We got this young guy. Do we really want to pay EJ like,
Yeah.
3 years, $36 million or something like that?
Because, I mean, y'all don't have any real big contracts on the horizon. JT, you have JT there.
JT, Pittman both signed. Offensive linemen are signed. AR's a ways away from a contract.
And the move is really just signing a free agent.
For sure.
Get him probably cheaper than you can get EJ Speed.
Yep.
You'll get someone that, oh wow, this guy's having a breakout season.
Get a
All of a
Cashman,
sudden,
you know.
Yes, right. Kaiser White will be out.
Pretty
there.
sure Zach Bond's a free agent, isn't he?
I think so.
He'll re-sign with the Eagles. He'll get himself a
He
nice
might cost a lot though. You
I
know.
know.
They'd be smart to pay. I think you got to reward this guy, man. That would be a bad look.
But you could totally see it just going south too.
Didn't you think the projected cap for 2025 is not as high as you would think? Like, it only looks like it's about a $10 to $15 million bump.
It could be more.
You think? I think it's going to be like I would like for it to be 280.
What's it like projected 265,
Two-
275?
Yeah, it didn't look like it was as much as I
What is it
seen
now?
the last couple of years.
255.
Yeah.
280 is a pretty big jump.
I guess that's true.
25?
Yeah, 275 would be a little better. I don't know. I thought I had seen where it was like a $10 million increase.
I could see like
15.
272.
I got you.
Something like that.
gotcha.
Going up 17 mil. That would make sense.
Were you asking for other dynasty linebackers? You were
Yeah,
just saying somebody in
was,
particular was asking about Carlise.
Somebody was asking about Carlise, and I think
We
he's
talked
one-
about a couple of them a few weeks ago. He was one of them.
yeah.
I think Akeem Davis Gaither is one that is
For sure.
interesting. Like he's a free agent after this season. We're getting to see what he looks like right now.
Yeah.
Um,
I think you could even go back down to Jacksonville and kind of talk yourself back into like a Ventrell Miller, or a Devin Lloyd maybe. I mean, who knows what they do with Foye? If Peterson and that whole crew is gone, there could be some weirdness down there in Jacksonville.
Leo Chenal was one we talked about.
Yeah.
That's an obvious one.
Yeah.
Probably the other rookie linebacker there in Green Bay is someone you need to go ahead and add.
Tyron Hopper.
Yep.
Get to the Hopper.
You're probably forgetting a little bit about Trevin Wallace at this point in the season.
They did
too.
mention Trevin Wallace. He was one that if he is out there on your waivers,
Yeah.
get this guy.
Yeah.
Because
He shouldn't be on waivers.
Jewel there is he a 1-year deal?
Jewel also, we need to give a shout out. He's been crushing it.
I think he's
like,
LB2 right now behind Zach Bond the last few weeks.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was
Incredible.
looking. I think he was like top 5 in points per game since like week 7, something like that. So
Look at
Love to see it.
Love to see
Carolina looking much better as a team, too.
They do.
Like,
Yeah.
they
Bryce
have some
Young
fight
looks
in 'em.
good.
Adam Thielen, turning back the clocks.
They're giving these teams all they can handle. They really are.
Nick Bolton now kind of a pass rusher a little bit. Over the last 5 games, has 2.5 sacks, has a fumble recovery. Only has 2 games this year of more than 10 tackles. Had 11 tackles in week 5 and then 11 tackles in week 13. So I'm really interested to see what the Chiefs do at linebacker this offseason. I don't know what Tranquil's deal is with them there. You would think Bolton is going to cost quite a bit. Not only was he high draft capital, but he's played pretty decent over his rookie contract. I don't know, man. That's going to be weird to see with Bolton.
It's weird to say Max Crosby has had a down year, and he has, but he's still sitting as edge 8 right now.
Wow.
By Big 3 scoring.
It's because he plays 99% of the time.
And ahead of him are guys that we probably feel like, kind of lukewarm on, but Brian Burns, Danielle Hunter, Myles Garrett, and then the top 4, Benito, Hendrickson, Watt, and Van Ginkel.
At the end of the 2025
Just
season,
insane.
do you think that Jared Verse could be over like Max Crosby in the ranks?
Yeah.
What about TJ Watt?
Those will be thoughts this offseason.
TJ Watt?
Yeah.
Myles Garrett?
TJ Watt will be 31 next season.
Yeah, Max Crosby coming off seasons of 338, 327, sitting at 202 right now. That's why we feel that sting a little bit.
And there is a little bit of that concern that like some of these top guys, like a TJ Watt, we could see him retire early.
Yeah.
We saw his brother do it. We saw Aaron Donald do it. Like that's a real concern.
Yep.
What happens if
Max-
the Raiders have a new coach, new defensive coordinator
Yeah.
with Max Crosby there?
Yep.
Do you know his points per game, Josh?
Who,
He's
Max?
19.9 points per game in 2022, which is crazy. And then 19.3 in 2023. It's got to be
It's more like in the 15, 16
it's got to be
range.
down 4 or 5 points a game off of that trajectory. But anyways, I don't know. Just with Jared Verse, it just kind of makes me think, looking in the ranks, like if we were to project this time next year, or even like you're saying, Adam, like sometime this offseason, I'm not so sure right now that I don't have Verse over like Max and TJ Watt. I probably have Garrett as like the edge 4. But Verse is like in a pretty insane category for me right now.
I think as soon as the season ends, that's where, I'll be thinking.
I think one of the best buys this offseason is probably going to be Dallas Turner.
No doubt,
I think his value has plummeted.
folks. He looks good. Like,
Everybody's
as a Vikings
worried.
fan, he looks damn good.
Yep.
Like I'm excited about him.
Yep.
Like, he's
You
he's
better
21.
you
and
better
he's
hope-
surrounded by studs.
You better hope he doesn't do a lot in the postseason, because if so, his price is going to go up a bunch.
I don't think he will, just because Grenard and Van Ginkel are both pretty locked in.
Yeah,
16.83 points per game for Max Crosby.
still fine.
Still
Still
pretty good.
solid.
Right? That's what's funny is we were like, oh, man, Max Crosby's been a disappointment just because the highs have been so high with Max Crosby.
That's more than Micah Parsons' points per game in 2023. That's more than Nick Bosa's points per game in 2023.
Like, here's another great example. Jonathan Grenard, it's been a fine season. He's right behind Max Crosby. He's edge 9.
Wow.
That's why I don't think you're going to see Dallas Turner get on the field right now. Is Van Gink's edge 1, Grenard's edge 9.
Yeah.
I think it'll be...
Pat Jones has been fine.
Yeah, I think it'll be 2025, 2026 probably is when we get full lift off for
And that's
Dallas
fine.
Turner.
That's
Holy
fine, folks.
moly. I just saw something in here. There's a new DT1.
Oh yeah, maybe. Well,
Woo!
I mean, they're all
Elisha Cansey?
they're all in there together.
Boy, oh boy.
I'm
Bobo's
getting a little
happy
sweaty.
man.
I
Might have to
mean,
come out this jacket.
he deserves it, right?
I mean-
he's also like 20.
23.8.
Yeah, yeah. I got Jalen Carter right underneath him.
Yep.
Jeffrey Simmons, few down.
Big Q, Dexter Lawrence, 27.1.
Jack Campbell got an upgrade in the ranks.
I like
We
that.
bumped him up to 3, linebacker 3.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Foyer,
Yeah.
gotta
See you
bump
later,
him down.
Foyer.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. Good luck to you in the
It's
future.
just you ain't what you once was.
Yeah, we don't
We
like
ain't got
you
no
more.
need for you no
You
more.
you're the Woody falling to the floor.
right.
Don't want to play with you anymore, meme.
I think Frankie Louvu is the person in the NFL I wish I could take this production and roll back the clock to like him being 24.
Yes, right.
You know,
wish
instead
had
of
a
him
little
being
longer runway.
28.2 years old.
Yep.
Yeah.
Give him Nick Bolton's age. Let Bolton be older.
There you go. let's do like a little like Halloween movie kind of swap of their ages and
Yeah,
bodies.
let's get Bolton closer to out of the league. I like that.
That's great, Bobo. You've made Addie's night.
Adam's turned me into a Bolton hater at this point.
You all have made our night tuning into this episode. We appreciate you all. Hopefully a lot of you listening to this are in your fantasy playoffs. If so, we're going to get you right. Like we said, the lineup for the preview shows, guys, you want to tune in. Justin Varnes this week. John Macri next week. Wow. Mike Wohlert for championship week.
Wow.
Speaking of the Green Dot King, rankings will be live 8:30 a.m. Central on Wednesday. Waivers are already up. We got the DL and CB streaming for you. So the Green Dot article is up for free to read over at the IDPshow.com.
Woller's an absolute stud, folks. I mean,
Man is a machine.
an absolute professional too. Like, he's got it there for you. I mean, like, what else? Who is more consistent than that man?
Free agent signing of the offseason.
Yes,
right
truly. He is our IDP MVP for the 2024 season.
Also, shout out
Mike
Macri.
Wohlert.
Okay, shout out Macri
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
But hey, that's your job, Macri.
Yeah. You be lucky.
All right.
You're lucky. If this was our job, we'd be slightly worse than you, but still pretty good.
That's right. People be a lot more, nice and saying stuff, tweeting us a lot more. We'd be offering more useful nuggets.
Check out Macri stuff as well. We just wouldn't be yucking it up on the pod. But we're glad you guys are here because we do enjoy yucking it up on the pod. We'll be back next week. I'm glad I got to do this episode, boys. I was supposed to be in Florida, leaving tomorrow morning.
Postpone your trip to do
Look
this.
at you. Hadn't been shaving.
Had to.
Letting hair down.
Wow.
Letting
Florida
hair grow.
Joshy.
Yeah. Florida
You're going to be
Josh
in Florida tomorrow
I will be.
at some point.
I will be. Probably around dinner time.
I'm jelly.
Yeah.
I'd have a tea time at about 1:45.
And it's we do the thing where I drive down with all the
wanna go?
luggage.
Man,
And,
you just
and
made me real sad. I miss golf so bad.
I drive down with the luggage and the kiddos fly because the daughter, she's not old enough to do a 9-hour car ride yet. She'd be
That's
a
a-
nightmare.
That'll be fun. That'll be a nice
So
time.
I'm kind of looking forward to it. I had to solo
come
dad
with?
it this weekend. Allie had a retreat in Nashville. Yes, please. We can
we
talk
come?
football.
Me and
Yes.
Adam
Get in
come?
the car. Let's go.
You want to go?
Let's
Play
go.
golf?
Yeah.
We're going to
Let's-
end this pod and go pack for Florida. So,
Yes.
but we will
We're
see
going to
you all
Florida.
next week. We're not going to leave y'all high and dry. We'll come back and recap week, what is it, boy? Week 15.
Yeah.
Week 15, 16, 17. Just keeps on rolling.
Yes, sir.
Right on to Christmas. We'll be here on Christmas Eve with y'all as well.
That's right.
Can't get away from us.
There's the orders.
Never.
But thank you all again for listening. Thank you for watching. YouTube.com/@theIDP Show. You can watch these episodes. TheIDPShow.com. Like I said, we've got Justin Varnes on the after show tomorrow previewing Week 15. So make sure you check that out. And we got Tackle Box Props back on IDP Bets on Friday. So if you want to win money, my dude is 80% on the season.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Christmas is coming up, folks.
Yes, if you need some money for presents, come listen to IDP
String
Bets.
these bets together.
That's right. Let's make $1 million.
Give your kids the Christmas they deserve. Is what you have to do.
Cow Belly Fuel, I know you're listening to this, so make sure you do that.
4 to 5 leg minimum parlay.
Y'all take care. We'll see you next week.
It's the IDP